Hi, welcome to BikeSocial. I'm Michael Mann, and you join me here with Indian's FTR Carbon. It's the bike that's based on the FTR1200 unveiled at the back end of 2018. Lots of smoke, lots of lights, big party, and then it came to market 2019, and the S model over the stock model, and the difference there is the TFT display. It's got adjustable suspension and an IMU with all the clever electronics, but it's the S model that's been the bigger seller of the two. And then came the rally version, and then came the carbon version. So it's the S model, just a bit better. It's a bit nicer to look at. So it's got all these carbon panels, and it's got a nice FTR Indian Carbon decal on the front there, and it's also got the twin Akrapovic pipes as well as standard. 14,699 of your English pounds, and it's available right now. Now, Indian tell us that it's only about 35 in the UK per year. They haven't specified it's going to be a limited edition model, but the idea is that it's a bit more premium and there's not so many around, so there's a degree of uniqueness about this on your driveway. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to talk through all the different components about the bike. We'll do that right here, right now. Then we'll have a little ride. We'll get a few onboard shots. I'll do a bit of commentary. But yeah, so Indian came to market with this bike, and for an American brand that was seen as a bit of a challenger to the Harley-Davidsons of this world in terms of its product range. So we're talking about big cruisers and tourers, bikes that are vast in terms of size, in terms of their cubic capacity and their mileage and their range and their ability to just tour all over. And then all of a sudden, based on the flat track performance of their race team, the hooligans on the FTR 750, they based this FTR 1200. So yeah, 1203cc, makes 125 brake horsepower, bagfuls of torque as well, which is really, it's this pièce de résistance. It's all about that torque and that vibey V-twin. Anyway, let's have a little look around all the different components. So the FTR range, as we said, the FTR 1200 range specifically, was unveiled in a plume of dramatic smoke back at the Intermot show in Cologne at the back end of 2018, before making it into the dealerships in 2019. And inspired by the FTR 750 race bike that has, as we've already said, dominated that US flat track scene for the last few years. This is the street version, and it comes in two formats, or it did originally, the stocker and then the S. And like we said, the S comes with the adjustable suspension, as does this. This is the carbon version. There's your adjusters on the top. Look, also comes with the 4.3-inch TFT display. We'll get onto that in a second. And it also comes with the clever IMU in the middle there, the inertia measurement unit, which helps control all the electronics essentially. So you've still got things like cornering traction control, for example. So Indian made this brave move to step away from the types of bikes that it's famed for, cruisers, tourers, and then move to expand its market with this sort of aggressive, retro styled street fighter, can we call it? And for a brand like Indian to do that, it was a bit of a headliner really. It's a bit like Coca-Cola turning around and saying, do you know what? We're going to make swimming goggles now. Everyone thought, hang on a minute, what's going on? What do we know about this bike? What we know is it's got a 1203cc 60-degree V-twin engine stuck to a trellis style frame, similar with a swing arm. 19-inch front, 18-inch rear, and it's got these Dunlop DT3R tyres. Now, I've never seen these on a road bike before. These are flat track inspired semi-knobblies. Pretty thin, pretty garish looking, I think. I don't think they look particularly pretty. And it doesn't really add much to this rear end. There's a massive great gap between, look, the top of the tyre and the rear tail unit. By the way, all that under there, that's a fuel tank, and that keeps the centre of gravity a lot lower than you expect. You expect the fuel tank being there, but it's not. And that's rather clever, I think, because it helps the dynamics of this bike. Because with a front wheel of that size and a rear wheel of that size and the tyres like that, especially with a big V-twin, you wouldn't expect it to go around corners particularly well. And what Indian have done here is they've created a bike that doesn't have mainstream competition. What I think you'd probably pitch this against is possibly a Triumph Street Twin. You've probably got Speed Triple, and you've probably got 1200 Scrambler. Take a bit of each, mesh them together, and you've got you've got this FTR Carbon, or certainly the FTR1200 range. I would suggest you've got a Ducati Monster 1200 into the mix as well, just because of its style, because of its look, because of its grunt, because of its twin cylinder engine. Pretty similar in price as well. The Ducati would be £300-400 more than this Indian. This is £14,699. 125 brake horsepower. That's about 8,250 RPM. Red line's at 9,000. And then your torque, well, your torque's your big figure, 120 Newton meters at 5,900 RPM. And that almost puts it on a par with the Ducati. The Ducati's about 126, I believe. Adjustable suspension front and rear, there's your rear monoshock. And these wicked Akrapovic pipes. So it's a 2 into 1 into 2 blacked out silencers on this with a little carbon surround, and that's part of this FTR Carbon range. You've got the carbon pillion seat cover tank, get the light surround on the front there, and then you get the, well, the Americans will call a front fender, as we know as a mud guard. So Bosch IMU gives you cornering traction control, it gives you ABS, it gives you engine braking control, it gives you cruise control, gives you that 4.3-inch dash, Bluetooth phone connectivity, LED lights, and a USB charging point as well, which you can see tucked under here. Just in there, look. Let's turn it on. Let's have a look at this handlebar layout as well. So you've got these very small buttons. Considering it's an American bike, where everything you'd expect to be big, these are quite delicate. I wouldn't call them fiddly, I'd call them, because they're quite well spaced. So you're never going to press something that you didn't need to. Look, the horn and the accelerator and the indicators rather are in the same place. Push in, and you've got your, turn the ignition on, and you've got your hazard warning lights, and then you've got your cruise control, which is a simple tap to turn it on, to turn it off, and then you set and reset plus and minus there as well. And then you've got your joystick, right, left, up, down, and in, and that gives you full control over the TFT display, which has got this lovely sort of matte finish, which means that you don't get much glare off it on the sun, which is lovely. You've got 2 layouts. That's your first one, that's your second one. It's in gear, let's take it out of gear. I probably prefer the more traditional analog style. So you've got tank range. Your odometer, temperature today, yes, it really is 31 degrees, 32 degrees in the UK. And your direction of travel, gear, all the usual stuff, all the things you should expect to see. Now, it's a bit, when you first look at it, you think, oh, it's a bit cumbersome. It's got these big horrible buttons on there, and it looks like a bit of a Game Boy from the 80s and something you could have made in your shed at home. But actually, practically, it's very, very good. It works well, and you can, it's all touchscreen. You've got 3 engine modes, range, standard, and sport. That affects the throttle connection, it affects the traction control, where that grips and doesn't. You can adjust the brightness and put on auto. Track mode's quite entertaining, so engage that, and then you press that button, you press disable, and all of a sudden you've got rid of your traction control and ABS. Essentially, you can go be a bit of a loony, or a hooligan, I think is what they would probably like you to call it. So one press, and she fires up. Look at these grips, by the way, really nice, and there's a lot to get hold of there. Your hands are not going to slip off there. Mirrors, by the way, they look a bit odd, a bit ugly. They're okay, they adjust well enough, especially that one on the right. The one on the left, not so much. You'll see it from some of the onboards, and I talk about it, where you can't dial it in, you can't push it in any more than that. Out, yes, up, down, left, right, but you can't get it in. So if you're in quite an aggressive tuck position where your hands are, your chin sort of over the rear of the front wheel, you can't really see out of the mirror that well. So what I don't like about this bike, I said earlier on, I don't like this big space here, and I don't like how this reminds me of scaffolding, this number plate hugger. You can get an official accessory that comes off the top here. This is how it's homologated, this is how it comes, because you've got to have, legally, got to have your number plate behind the end of your rear wheel, but it just looks a bit, it's not my cup of tea, all this stuff here. Grippy pegs, nice and angled, again promotes that sort of aggressive riding position. They fold in against the spring. You got your hero blobs on the end there as well. Gearbox is nice and neat. It's not a quick shift, but then you wouldn't expect it on this type of bike, I don't think. Maybe I would. It's kind of, it's a premium model. It's got a lot of horsepower. It's got a lot of torque. Maybe I would expect a quick shifter. Either way, it kind of adds to that I don't know, mechanical feeling of riding a proper bike. Clutch lever is non-adjustable, by the way. Bit strange considering the price you're paying for this model, whereas the brake lever is. Twin M4.32 I think they are. Brembo's on the front, single disc on the rear, again Brembo. They've got great stopping power too, really, really good. There's a lovely feel from the lever, nice and progressive, considering the weight of this bike as well, with you on it. It's, what are we, 228 I think is the curb weight on this. By the way, you get a 2-year unlimited mile warranty with this. Peg position is quite high when you first get on it. It's not too bad. It promotes this sort of triangle between peg, seat and handlebar. It does promote a fairly aggressive style of riding, an aggressive stance where you want to be kind of crouched over the front bar and making the most of that front end grip, which I guess is that sort of dirt track or flat track style. Lots of torque, not masses of grip. The tyres are not mega. I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but they're fairly flat all the way across, and all of a sudden, bang, you've gone. I haven't had too many issues in terms of grip. I quite like the front end grip on this thing, despite the size of its front wheel. Because of the amount of torque that it's got, and because of that tyre, there's not a massive amount of rear grip. You tend to slide a bit, which possibly is deliberate. Certainly, that's what my man from Indian Motorcycles UK told me. And he was quite proud of that fact too. So we're going to have a ride. It is top fun, this thing. I can see why they gave it so much torque and energy, and it's got a lot of pizzazz about it. Hilarious, I think. Hilarious. I think it's the type of bike, if you go and take it for a test ride, well, you might as well just sign the check, because you'll get on it and you'll think, holy smoke, that's incredible. It's just so easy to have a giggle. You've got a lot of down low, a lot of torque down low in the rev range. It gives you that punch out of the corner. It's fairly typically V-twin, but it doesn't lack that kind of that bogginess that you sometimes associate with a twin. It's got a lovely throttle connection. It's fairly languid. There's a laziness about it, but again, I think that's part of the character of the twin. I'm in standard mode. So there's 3 riding modes. You've got rain, you've got standard, you've got sport. And the sport mode is a little bit snatchy. I wouldn't say it's terrible. I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know, an original MT-09 snatchy. If you do go out for a test ride on this, just try all of the ranges. Go and have a go in all 3 modes, just see what it's like. Because actually I much prefer having it in standard mode. It's just a nicer connection. I like the punchiness of the engine, and I think that it's got a lot going for it. That's it's the heart and soul of the bike, obviously. And if you're interested in something like this, a naked bike with a lot of character, a lot of soul, it's what Engine have done very, very well. But this particular model is they've given it a heart. But the FTR Carbon is a good looking thing. I really like the carbon look on it. I like it a lot. I liked it from the instant I got on it. The first ride I had on it was fairly deliberately. I went to find the most secluded road I could. That happened to be a proper bumpy back road. I bounced around all over the place and I thought, well, this suspension is fantastic. 120mm travel, I think it is. Sacks, adjustable, monoshock on the rear, and it's handled those bumps very, very well. I must say it's very well suspended. It's comfortable on the road. The seat's okay, it's nice and firm, but it's fairly sculpted. The riding position is fairly promoted forwards, aggressive. It's got a good stance. These wide bars, they're forward. They make you lean over the front wheel, which is good because that's the style of bike that it is. £14,700 is a lot of money, and it only comes to this one colour. They call it the Race Retro, or Race Replica rather. Certainly the build quality I think is very, very good. It feels sturdy, strong. It's heavy enough, which of course makes it a little bit cumbersome in the faster corners. It's not terrible, honestly. You got to go and try it. I like the vibrations you get, and I'm not saying it's vibey because it's not uncomfortable. Certainly in terms of the pegs, the seat, there's nothing untoward there. It's very comfortable. Picks up nicely. Just a roll on in third gear from 30 to 40 miles an hour. Picks up well, sounds good. Stable. There's not a great deal of dive under braking. Right, there's no one behind me. Let's have a little brake test, shall we? 3, 2, 1. Oh. Yeah, okay, so there was a bit of dive there, but it was stable, it wasn't lurchy. Right, we didn't get more than 9.5 litres in to the tank. And like I said, the fuel tank sits underneath where I'm sitting, underneath the rider's saddle, and where the fuel tank is normally is very, very low. It means that you're promoted quite high. It's a high enough seating position anyway, adjustable, but you do sit quite high. You've got a good field of vision, and you don't feel as though there's anything in front of you that's going to be too obstructive. And then again, promotes that kind of aggressive riding style. So I believe, you know, if you're pushing on, if you're behaving as the bike would want you to behave, then you're going to be slant forward. You're going to have your hands wide, your elbows out. You're going to be looking mean. You're going to be giving it some. It means that all the weight's over the front. That's where you're going to steer. It means that's why there's less grip at the rear, not only because of those tyres, but also because of the way in which the weight is distributed. So I, the rider, am a lot more forwards on this bike than some others. I've lost a lot less weight over the rear, and that means that, of course, the rear tyre is not going to be pushed into the ground. But sometimes that's what bikes are all about. Just getting on it, riding it, enjoying it. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about the MPGs or maybe even the BHPs. But remember, it's still 238 odd kilograms. So when it comes to brakes, it's a good job it's got those big Brembos. From side on, it looks a lot different to what it does back on, or rear 3/4, it would call it. I think the front looks ace. I think if you look at it front on, with the LED light and the headlights around and carbon, I think it looks trick. I love the acrylic exhausts. I thought that looks great. But in terms of a motorcycle that's giving back to the rider, it's very generous. Guys and girls of BikeSocial, I'm always honoured to talk to you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Any comments, any questions, any arguments, any points you want to raise, pop them in the comments below. You know what to do. Stay with us. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Thank you for joining us, and safe riding. Yes, I like it.